Okay, hello everybody. Today I will be going over a very controversial and sensitive topic called Islamophobia. This little mini lesson is going to be about Islamophobia, more specifically in the United States. I will be covering what the word Islamophobia means, so the definition of Islamophobia. I will be briefly going over what a hijab and what a kufi is, how Islamophobia became a problem, like the root of the problem, why Islamophobia is problematic. I will be showing you guys a bar graph of the statistics that I got off the FBI hate crime website from 2001 to 2019. And then after I finish going over all of that, I will have you guys complete a brief survey. It's only 5 questions long, and I'll explain more about the survey at the end of the PowerPoint. So going on to our first topic on what is Islamophobia. So everybody knows the root word phobia means, to have an extreme fear of something. So you're extremely you're terrified of it. You can't look at it. You can't stand thinking about it. So Islamophobia is basically the extreme fear of somebody of Islam. More specifically, of the Islamic group as a political force in the United States. And usually somebody who's Islamophobic will act or feel hostility towards anyone that is Muslim or appears to be Muslim. And I chose this photo right here because it shows, these are people that are Islamophobic. They do not want Muslims to come and immigrate into the United States because they believe that they're all terrorists and that they're going to bring terrorism and chaos into the United States when that's not the fact, because terrorists do not have the same core beliefs that Muslims do. So, moving on, what a hijab and what a kufi is. A hijab is a hair covering worn by Muslim women in public. So, Muslim women will be out in public walking around, and they will have a hijab that covers their hair, and they'll also be dressing very modestly. The clothing doesn't necessarily have to be culturally appropriate. It can be Western style clothing as well, as long as it's showing modesty, where it's covering up the body and not showing anybody anything. It's considered okay in the religion, because the Muslim religion is created to cater so that anybody can join the religion. You don't have to wear clothing that's from Islamic states. And the hijab is seen as a form of modesty, and women are only allowed to take their hijab off in front of other women, male family members, and of course their husband. And so, they can't take it off in front of their male friends because they are considered a potential spouse. So a kufi is a prayer hat that is worn by Muslim men, and it can be worn outside of the mosque as well. And it's normal for a man to actually own a more fancy kufi that is specifically used for prayer inside of a mosque. A mosque is basically a Muslim church. So usually a man will use his fancy kufi either in prayer, or they'll have the fancy kufi and they'll just use it for, important major holidays in the Muslim religion. But they do have the option of not wearing the kufi outside of the mosque. That's the difference, where men are allowed to show their hair versus women are not. But men also dress very modestly as well. So the religion is very, on the form of equality. If a woman is going to dress modestly, so is the man. So that's another cool fact about the Muslim religion. So the next topic is, how did Islamophobia become a problem? So a lot of people credit like the root of the huge skyrocket of Islamophobia in the United States. They credit it to the 9/11 attacks that happened on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon, so the World Trade Center, in 2001. A terrorist group known as the Al-Qaeda, that was led by Osama bin Laden, actually hijacked 4 planes. 2 were flown into the Twin Towers, and the other 2 were heading to other locations. One, the location was unknown. The other one was heading to the Pentagon. So the 2 that were flown into the Twin Towers actually, caused both towers to collapse, and nearly 3,000 people died and more than 6,000 people were injured that day. And these attacks, like, they hit the United States citizens, like, differently than, when they read about, the terrorist group, the Al-Qaeda, they attacked Syria, or they attacked another city, they killed everybody in this village. We were worried about it, but we weren't necessarily taking action or trying to take action. It wasn't until, there was attack on actual U.S. soil that we decided to claim war against the Al-Qaeda. And there's actually a movie about the 9/11 attack. There's actually a lot of movies about the 9/11 attack, but my personal favorite one is called World Trade Center. It's rated PG-13. It's a really good movie. It definitely made me cry, and it pretty much is looking at the 9/11 attacks from a first responder's point of view. But after the 9/11 attacks, many Americans, they came to start fearing Muslim terrorists, and in turn, the media started to spread anti-Islamic sentiments, which rose the Islamophobia in the United States. So as you can see right here, I have a picture of like the New York Times front page, like the front page of the magazine from the New York Times, saying that we were attacked, and it's talking about how it's a day of terror, which is true. So many people lost their lives. I personally do not really recall too much from the actual day, like 9/11 2001, because I was only 5 years old. It's very blurry. I was in kindergarten, so I don't really remember much. But obviously, being raised, we always celebrate. Not celebrate. We always remember 9/11 and kind of mourn, have a moment of silence on that day for the people that lost their lives, the innocent civilians that were on the plane, the innocent civilians that were working at the Twin Towers, and the brave frontline workers that went in and rose to their call. And this picture right here is a memorial. So it's 2 sky beams, going up to the heavens, indicating that all those innocent lives lost that day, they're in heaven up there with God. So why is Islamophobia a problematic movement? So Islamophobia is a problematic movement because the people that are actually usually victims of anti-Islamic hate crimes are 99% of the time not terrorists. But because the people that actually end up committing these crimes, I don't want to say well educated like I wrote here, I want to say well researched on the topic, or well read on the topic, assume that all Muslim people are terrorists, when in reality that's not the truth. That's not the fact. The word Islam actually means peace, and it's a core belief of the Muslim people, of the Muslim religion. And the Muslim people also believe in like non-violence and just keeping peace at all times. They do not wish to start wars. They do not wish to get into wars. So that's why they get so upset when, a group like the Al-Qaeda, who basically are an extremist group, call themselves Muslims, because in reality, they aren't Muslims. They're not true Muslims, because true Muslims do not believe in violence. They do not condone it. They don't condone the beheadings that the Al-Qaeda were doing, all the shootings, and the 9/11 attack. They don't agree with it. They don't think it was right for them to have done that. And of course, in turn, they are victims of this growing fear from, people that just don't understand. So kind of take, for example, the Christianity or Catholicism. The symbol is the cross, right? So, the cross that Jesus was crucified on. How would you feel if you were walking down the street and you had your crucifix on, your rosary? You had a rosary on. Either, you're wearing it around your neck, or you have it as wrapped around your wrist, and somebody saw the cross. How would you feel if somebody saw that cross and just looked at you in pure horror for absolutely no reason, just because you have a rosary on your body? It would feel, it would feel terrible. Like, you would be like, wait, why are you afraid of me? I didn't do anything to you. There's no reason for you to be afraid of me. That's the way, Muslims that are on the street that receive, these fearful gazes, or, just hateful comments from people that call them terrorists, or to tell them to go back to their country and, kill people there. They feel terrible and uncomfortable. They don't feel safe. So now we're going to be looking at some statistics from the FBI. I actually took the statistics and put it in a graph. So the data that I used were the incidents reported and the victims of anti-Islamic hate crimes. So as you can see, in 2001, they were really, really high. I actually should have put maybe like a couple years before 2001, maybe 5 years back to compare it to 2001. But I didn't think of that until right now. So in 2001, there was high, like the highest rate of victims and the highest rate of crimes reported. After that, it kind of went down, and it was going up and down and up and down all the way up until 2015 and 16. And then it starts steadily going back down again. But, it's still a problem. It's not a stagnant number. It didn't just automatically go down to zero because we weren't at war with, because we weren't in Iraq anymore, or in a war with the Al-Qaeda. And if you think about it, all these skyrocketed. So in 2001 and 2016, there are reasons behind just a sudden burst of anti-Islamic hate crimes. 2001 is obviously, it's 9/11. So, the 9/11 attack sparked a huge amount of hatred towards the Muslim community, and a lot of, innocent Muslims were attacked. They were either verbally attacked, physically attacked, or, just maybe somebody was stalking them, harassing them, like thinking that they were a terrorist, so they stalked them everywhere they went, and, evidently became a problem for them. So, as you can see, there was a lot of victims. And then again in 2016, which coincidentally happens to be when ex-US President Trump was elected into office. And I know it was towards the end of the year in November, but that was when he was elected into office. And, he was spreading a lot of anti-Islamic sentiments. He also spread a lot of anti-Hispanic sentiment. He's just not a fan of immigrants overall. And so because of that, there was a huge spike in 2016 of, incidents reported to the FBI, and, the number of victims that the FBI recorded that were from anti-Islamic hate crimes. And, it's interesting to look at the statistics and, see it in a bar graph and see how the numbers are rising and falling each year. So after having gone over all this, I would like you guys to complete a short survey for me. I know I had said it's 5 questions, but it's actually 6. So all your answers are going to be anonymous. So, nobody's going to know your name. Nobody's going to know what you specifically answered. There's no way for anybody to know. And only I'm going to be looking at the results that are on the SurveyMonkey. I'm going to be making a graph or a table with these results to use in a research paper that I will be writing with my research group. So they're not going to see the SurveyMonkey, they're just going to see the final product of the graph or the table. So there's no way anyone's going to know if you answered yes or no or I don't know to any of these questions. The graphs and tables that I will be making will also be shown to 5 people that we will be interviewing. They are going to be Muslim people from different age groups. So we'll be showing them the results of the survey as well to kind of try to get to their responses to add it into our research paper. And I just want you guys to know that this survey is not mandatory. If you're not comfortable participating, I completely understand. And, I can't force you to answer these questions for me. But I do encourage you to, click the link once it's been copied and pasted into the chat, to click the link and look over the questions. And, if you see the questions and you feel comfortable with answering them, then, go ahead. But if you see the questions and you just feel like you are not comfortable with answering any of them, like I said, it's okay for you not to take them. But with that said, if you do choose to do the survey, know that you do not have to answer all the questions. I'm not too sure if SurveyMonkey allows you to continue on the survey without selecting something. But if you don't feel comfortable answering a question, just don't answer it. You can skip it. You can skip that question and continue on to the next. So the survey link should be copied and should be pasted into the chat by now by Mr. Denman. I did email him the survey link. So I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of short lecture, informational session. If you have any questions about this, you can let me know either next time I come into class, or you can send me an email. So yeah, thank you so much for participating in my survey. I really look forward to looking at your responses. Thank you.